Swing state strategies are now taking shape in the 2024 race, with Vice President Harris and former President Trump making clear plays for Georgia and Pennsylvania right now. And new polling shows why the focus on those two states is just getting started. Take a look at this. Harris is now on top in 4 of 7 battleground states, mostly within the margin of error, but with a double-digit lead in Michigan. And we're seeing those numbers really flip-flop from where they were prior to this transition in the Democratic ticket. Let's discuss with former senior advisor to the 2020 Biden campaign, Alencia Johnson, and former Republican congressman from Florida, David Jolly. So the Harris campaign's coming off that huge rally in Atlanta last night. Let's just revisit her walk up to the stage just to show the level of enthusiasm. Alencia, the cheers, the celebrity there, the energy at that rally in Atlanta, and now this new battleground polling. What does all that tell you about where this race stands right now?
Listen, there were so many people that were in that room last night that were texting me and saying that the crowd got full to capacity so early that they shut the doors early. There were lines outside for hours. That the energy in the room, they hadn't felt that since President Obama first ran in 2008. And then at the same time, it still felt even different there, because Democrats are very clear on what they're voting against, as well as now also having something to vote for. Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, represents the future. And she spoke directly to Donald Trump. She literally said, if you have something to say it to my face, speaking directly to him, knocking down a bully off his feet. And the crowd was really energized around. And I also appreciated that she went through his rap sheet, right, that she does as a prosecutor, and he is a convicted felon. She also went directly for the attacks that they're laying on her around immigration. She hit it right on the head and said, listen, we had a border deal, but Donald Trump and his cronies said that they wanted it to be a political issue, and they killed the bill. So she was also able to talk about the freedoms that folks will be voting for. So Democrats have a lot of energy right now, because it's more than just defeating Donald Trump. It is building an America for the future generations. And she is encapsulating that with all of the fanfare last night, including Megan Thee Stallion and Quavo, and even a Morehouse student who introduced her.
So, David, what do you make of that immigration issue and how Vice President Harris is focusing on immigration? She has an ad hitting Trump on immigration, going on offense on what maybe Trump would see as his strongest issue. Smart? Is it risky?
Well, it's necessary. And I think the Harris campaign understands this is a real vulnerability for her, because with all of the renewed enthusiasm, and it is real, it is measurable, enthusiasm hitting about 30 points higher among Democrats than it was when Joe Biden was at the top of the ticket. This enthusiasm that's been unleashed for a Harris ticket is real and remarkable. And now this is a very competitive, even-up race. But it's an even-up race. And the vulnerability for the vice president will be in the coming weeks as kind of the air in the room softens a little bit and they focus in on policy. She does have to answer questions. And the most important line, and Alencia saw that, and Kelly O in the last segment saw it as well, the most important thing outside of the optics of yesterday, which were real, was when she said, I would sign that bipartisan immigration package and Donald Trump would not. It is hard for Donald Trump to pin Kamala Harris as being weak on the border when she's the candidate that would sign the most aggressive immigration bill we've seen in decades. So she is on offense. Donald Trump has to respond to it. But this issue and the way she's playing it is a thread she can now pull through the debates, if there is one, and also into November.
Alencia, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly is a very credible immigration voice for Democrats. He's on the VP shortlist. He was asked about his standing in the Veep stakes earlier, right here on MSNBC.
You've been in contact with the Harris campaign. Have they said to you, we'd like you to be the choice?
Jonathan, I'm not going to get into any of that. I am going to be focused on making sure that Kamala is the next president. I'm going to work as hard as I can. Next week, my plans right now are to be in Arizona.
Not really giving any clues there. What would Mark Kelly bring to the ticket that the other choices wouldn't, Alencia?
Well, listen, I mean, as you let in, right, he is in Arizona, a border state. So there is a piece of immigration policy that he can bring. He also is a staunch supporter of gun violence prevention, obviously what has happened to his wife, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. And so he is able to bring some of that energy to the ticket. The reality is all of the quote unquote front runners, the surrogates that have been out there that are on the short list, will bring so much to the vice presidential piece of the ticket. You know, someone that's ready day one and someone that's ready to be a partner, someone that can also make up for some of the places where Vice President Harris might need some extra support, whether it's immigration, whether it's with veterans, whatever it may be with their experience. And so I actually don't envy the Harris campaign right now because we have such a great bench of folks who would be great partners to her, including Senator Kelly, as well as so many of the other voices that have been out here talking about their record and the positions they have to support her, who, whether or not they're picked as her vice president pick, will be a staunch surrogate for the campaign and helping us to get the win in November.
David, we heard Mark Kelly say, my plan right now is to be in Arizona next week. That's notable because we are reporting that Harris will campaign with her running mate on Tuesday in Philadelphia. She had said yesterday she still hadn't made a decision yet on who that would be, but the list includes several leaders from these battleground states. How much do you think the map will factor into her decision?
Well, it certainly looks like that is the number one decision. I mean, you can make a case for all of these candidates. Democrats have believed for years they have a bench of superstars, and arguably they do. This is lining up like a new generation Clinton-Gore type ticket. Fast forward to 2024. But if you put yourself with 5 days to go in the race, and you're the Harris campaign who has to win the popular vote probably by 5 points to win the Electoral College and has to win specific states, if you're in that frame of mind, you really are looking at a Shapiro, or you're looking at a Kelly, or you're looking at somebody. But honestly, Pennsylvania seems to be where all roads are running. Look, they have stars to be their VP. I would also suggest to this, Democrats know this, the Harris camp certainly does. All of these stars within the Democratic Party are still unknown to the American people, as unknown as J.D. Vance was. So the vetting they're doing right now is serious. They want a vice president that will help carry this momentum and ensure Vice President Harris gets enough electoral votes in November.
Former Congressman David Jolly and Alencia Johnson, thanks so much. Good to see you both.